Sarah and David had been inseparable since the first time they met. They had met during their final year of college in New York City, and their connection was instant. Sarah, an ambitious marketing executive, and David, a charming graphic designer, complemented each other in every way. Their love was passionate, and they built their life together with dreams of a future full of promise. 3 years into their marriage, things seemed perfect. Sarah had settled into a successful career, and David, who was working freelance, had recently landed a big contract with a well-known fashion brand. They bought a cozy apartment in Brooklyn, and life seemed as though it was on an upward trajectory. They had their disagreements like any couple, but nothing could have prepared Sarah for the storm that was about to hit their seemingly perfect life. One evening, after Sarah came home from work, she noticed something was off. David was sitting on the couch, staring blankly at the TV. His usual warmth and charm were absent. Sarah, sensing a shift, took a deep breath and decided to confront him. "David, what's going on?" Sarah asked, her voice soft but filled with concern. David turned to her, his face a mix of guilt and hesitation. I need to tell you something, Sarah." Sarah's heart skipped a beat. "What is it, David?" David paused, taking a deep breath. "I've fallen in love with someone else. His name is Ryan. He's someone I met through work, and I never expected it, but I can't deny it anymore. I'm in love with him." Sarah was silent, her mind racing as she tried to process his words. She thought she had heard him wrong, that it was some cruel joke, but David's face told her otherwise. The man she had loved for years, the man she had built a life with, was telling her he had fallen for another man. Not just anyone, but someone from his own world. Someone who had shared time with him professionally, someone she didn't even know. "I don't understand. How long has this been going on?" Sarah asked, her voice trembling. David looked away, unable to meet her eyes. "A few months. I didn't want to hurt you. But I've tried to ignore it, tried to push it away, but I can't." Sarah could feel her world crumbling around her. Everything she thought she knew about their marriage, their love, was now in question. David had changed, and it wasn't the change she had expected. The idea that he had been seeing someone else, someone of the same sex, left her feeling betrayed and broken. "I need time, David," Sarah whispered, retreating to their bedroom. For the next few weeks, the house was filled with an uncomfortable silence. David continued seeing Ryan, and Sarah tried to make sense of everything that had happened. But the pain of betrayal began to eat away at her, turning into something more, something darker. She couldn't just let this go. She couldn't allow him to simply walk away without consequences. The hurt and anger inside her were building, and she couldn't escape the feeling that revenge was the only way to heal her wounded heart. Sarah knew she wasn't the type of person to seek revenge, but her emotions had taken over. She spent countless hours thinking about how she could make David feel the pain she was experiencing. She knew she had to be clever, to use her intelligence and resources to turn the tables. One evening, as David came home from another night out with Ryan, Sarah had already put her plan into motion. She had contacted one of David's old friends from college, Mark. Mark had always had a soft spot for Sarah, and she knew he had never gotten over his feelings for her. Sarah reached out to him, pretending to want to reconnect and meet up. She made it clear that she was in a vulnerable place, and Mark, eager to help, agreed to meet her. Over the next few weeks, Sarah and Mark began to spend more time together. They started by having casual dinners and meeting for drinks, but as the days passed, their connection grew. Mark was attentive and kind, and although Sarah had no intention of rekindling a romance with him, she saw an opportunity to use him for her plan. Sarah made sure to take plenty of photos of her and Mark out together, laughing and sharing moments that would make David believe she had moved on. She shared these pictures with David, knowing that it would stir up jealousy and insecurity. The tension between Sarah and David grew. He began to question the status of their relationship, but Sarah remained calm and collected, never giving him the satisfaction of seeing her truly upset. She let him see her with Mark, a subtle reminder of what he had lost. David was growing increasingly restless. He had become consumed with guilt and jealousy, unsure of what to do next. The man he loved, Ryan, wasn't as invested in their relationship as he had hoped, and the reality of the situation began to sink in. Ryan had started pulling away, citing his own personal issues and lack of emotional readiness for a serious commitment. One evening, David called Sarah, his voice trembling. "Sarah, I need to talk to you. I made a mistake." Sarah, still calm, replied, "What do you mean?" "I was selfish. I thought I knew what I wanted, but now I see that I lost something that was far more important than my feelings for Ryan," David confessed. "I want to come back. I want to fix this." Sarah's heart raced, but she wasn't ready to let him off the hook. "You think you can just come back and everything will be fine?" she asked, her voice cold. "You broke me, David. You tore apart everything we had. You left me for someone else, and now you want me to take you back? You're wrong." David tried to plead, but Sarah's words cut through him like a knife. "I don't need you anymore, David. You chose Ryan over me. So why should I be the one to fix this?" As the weeks passed, Sarah's plan had reached its peak. David continued to struggle with his own emotions, torn between his past with Sarah and the uncertainty of his future with Ryan. Meanwhile, Sarah had found a sense of power in her revenge. She had taken control of her life, no longer a passive victim of betrayal. But as fate would have it, Ryan, who had been distant from David, reappeared. He reached out to David, claiming he had made a mistake by letting him go. He had realized that his feelings for David were real, and he wanted to start over. David, confused and conflicted, was pulled back into Ryan's arms, but this time it wasn't the same. Ryan was no longer the man David thought he knew. He was distant, cold, and detached. The perfect love story had turned into a painful nightmare. As for Sarah, she had found her peace. With Mark, she began to rebuild her life, but her heart was no longer the same. She had learned a valuable lesson. Revenge wasn't about hurting others. It was about reclaiming your own power and moving forward. She had taken control of her life, and now she was ready to start anew, without the past weighing her down. Sarah's journey wasn't one of vengeance, but one of healing. She had taken the pain of betrayal and transformed it into strength. David's life had spiraled out of control, but Sarah knew she was better off without him. She had learned to let go, to forgive herself, and to move forward with her head held high. As for David, his story was one of regret and lost opportunities. He had realized too late that love was fragile, and he had broken the one person who had truly loved him. His relationship with Ryan never recovered, and he was left with nothing but his own guilt. Sarah, on the other hand, had found happiness again. And this time, she knew it was a love that would last, one built on trust, respect, and the strength she had gained from her past struggles.